Hello everyone, great to be here for some cool science and hot cider. So I hear there's a few Dr. Chris Brown fans in the audience tonight. And you're probably expecting the famous Dr. Chris Brown, you know, like the one with the luscious head of hair, the Bondi vet. So I can confirm that Dr. Chris Brown and I both are doctors, we both love wildlife, and we both have photos in my wife's purse. I'm here tonight to talk about seagrass meadows, my favourite ecosystem. And seagrass is this grass that has evolved to grow under the oceans. It might look about as exciting to you as an underwater lawn, but I know here in Hobart we do get pretty worked up about lawns, like this lawn in the stadium, for instance. So I'm thinking, given this is Hobart, about half of you love lawns and half of you probably hate lawns. And I want you to know that you should love my underwater lawns. So just like our AFL team needs a lawn to call home, so does our wildlife. Seals, rays and sharks forage in these seagrass meadows. They're also a really important nursery for our fisheries. So baby fish live there, and when they grow up and get big, it means we have more fish to catch and it's better for our fisheries. Sadly, we're overlooking our seagrass meadows a lot like my wife overlooks me when Chris Brown's on TV. So, I'd like to encourage all of you to get out there and explore our local seagrass meadows. In Tassie, you'll want to wear a wetsuit because it's cold in the water. But if you're lucky like me and go and work on tropical seagrass, you won't need a wetsuit, you'll just need something to protect you from the nasty jellyfish. Now, I'm talking about every middle-aged man's dream. The cyclists will know what I'm talking about. Full-body lycra suits. When you put that thing on, you will be hot to trot. You'll feel like an Olympic athlete. So I think, why stop? Why stop at the beach? I like to wear mine down the cafe, having a latte with friends, picking the kids up at school. It's a good look. Now, on our coastlines, we are doing many things as humans to the coastlines, which seagrass doesn't like. And it can be hard to figure out what that does to seagrass. So that's my job. I look at data from across the world of seagrass to try and figure out why it's changing. And so some of those things we do, well, we're trawling for fish, and that trawling can rip up the seagrass and damage it. And so what I want to know, if the trawling is a key problem, that means we need to put more limits on where the fishing can go. But another thing that could be causing seagrass loss is pollution. So seagrass doesn't like murky water, it likes clear, shallow waters. And our sewage treatment makes the waters murky, and erosion from the catchments when we cut down trees also ends up in the oceans and makes the soil, water murky. And fertilisers on our farms and gardens also run into the ocean and make the waters murky. And so the seagrass doesn't like that. So if water quality is the issue, then we need to take actions on pollution to save the seagrass. And some scientists even think the seagrass is dying from exposure to all the middle-aged men in lycra suits. So unfortunately for me, if that's the main cause of seagrass loss, I might have to ban the lycra suits. So what I do is go out and monitor the seagrass meadows to try and find out if they're changing and how they're changing. And I think it's one of the best jobs in the world you can have. You go to a nice beach, put on your scuba gear, and count blades of grass. It's great. But to be honest, you have to be quite pedantic for that job, and so it suits me very well. I see my friends laughing there. So I always read all the manuals for my appliances. Did you know that you should always turn the washing machine off at the taps? My family do, because I'm so kind and considerate, I leave the notes to remind me. As a middle-aged man, though, who loves his grass and lawns, there's some appliances I don't let anyone touch, like my lawnmower. No one must touch the lawnmower. So there's scientists are out there all over the world looking at seagrass in their lycra and their wetsuits. The problem is they're all using different manuals to count the seagrass. So some of them do it my way, and they count blades of grass, which is good. Some of them are just looking at satellite images and measuring the seagrass that way. And yet other scientists are just seeing how high they get when they smoke the seagrass. I want to know how seagrass is changing everywhere, so it means I need to do a conversion so I can compare the grass smokers to the satellites to the blade counters. So just to explain this conversion for you, I thought I might make the comparison to beer sizes in different parts of Australia. In Hobart, we like our beer in pints, which makes sense because the beer is really good down here at HBC. So have a cheers for HBC. In Brisbane, there's a few Brisbaneites here, they drink their beer in smaller schooners. So, don't worry, I'm here to save you. If you're in Brisbane, what you need to do to get the right amount of beer is go to the bar and ask for 1.34116 schooners. And that will multiply up your schooner to a pint. Now, sometimes when I do this, the bartender looks at me funny. So I just say, don't worry, I'm Dr. Chris Brown, this is the right number. So scientists have a name for this kind of data conversion. They call it data manipulation. I don't really like that term because it sounds like we're making up the data. So I prefer the term data fondling. And I want to look at data from all over the world, which means I have to ask other scientists for their data. But other scientists don't want me to fondle their data. And I don't want to be the kind of person who gets in trouble for fondling without asking. So what I use is a science pickup line, like I'll put your name on my study, or come down to the beach for a glass of wine and we can count blades of grass together. So once I had the data from myself and all the scientists from all over the world, I was able to look at that, do some conversions, and look at how seagrass was changing. And I found that we've already lost 1/5 of the world's seagrass meadows, 19.1% to be precise. And that's a lot of seagrass, and so a lot of wildlife homes and a lot of fish habitat that we're losing. And so at this point in my research, I was feeling pretty depressed. I needed to get a bit of escapism. What I like to do to relax is run a hot bath, grab my iPad, and retire to the bathroom to read the latest studies on statistics. And it was meant to be relaxing, but it really wasn't as relaxing as it sounds, because my wife is banging on the door, and I have to lock the door, and then she's like, "Chris, you're not in there fondling again, are you?" My wife's just breaking up right now. So after hundreds of baths and thousands of studies read, I had a pretty good idea for the cutting edge in statistics. And I used my new data analysis skills to analyse what was causing loss of the seagrass meadows. And what I found was that water quality and pollution was the number one threat. So if we want to save our seagrass meadows, what we need to be doing is asking our councils to upgrade to sewage treatment. We can plant some trees to stop erosion in the catchments. And we can be mindful of how much fertiliser we put on our gardens and farms. And doing this will bring a lot back in return. We'll have more home for wildlife. We'll have a pint's worth of wildlife instead of a schooner's worth of wildlife in our oceans. And we'll have better fisheries. So for Hobart, I want you to stop arguing about lawns and get out there and save our seagrass meadows. Now guys, I'm just about done. I've got to head home and check on things. And the other day, it's a bit tense at home, the other day I came home and my wife had left me a note on the bench. The nerve. And I know. And the note said, "Stop daydreaming about seagrass and go out there and mow the lawn." So I was pretty annoyed about this. So I didn't do it right away. I came home early the next day from work so I could do it. And there was a strange car parked in the driveway. I walk up the driveway. There's a strange sound coming from the garage. I go to the garage. It's every middle-aged husband's nightmare. There's a luscious head of hair in my garage. It's Dr. Chris Brown's hair. He's bending over and he's fondling my lawnmower.